In Parshas Ki Tavo, like we learn in the morning, there are 98 curses, but we're not going to learn about the curses today. Interestingly enough, this portion doesn't start off with the curses. It starts off with the commandment of Bikurim. And you'll notice that it also has a big paragraph, a huge big paragraph of what we say in the night of the Seder, in the Seder night. In the Seder night, there's an explanation of all of these sentences that we say when we bring Bikurim. Okay, what's the mitzvah? The mitzvah is, there's a mitzvah in Eretz Israel that the first fruits of the 7 types, which are grapes and olives and wheat and barley and what is it? What is it? Grapes and olives and pomegranates and figs and wheat and barley. And I left out one. What did I leave out? What did I leave out?
Did you say dates?
Did I say dates? Wheats. Let's see again.
You said figs and dates.
Figs, dates, pomegranates, grapes.
Rye?
No. Grapes. Figs. Did I say figs? Anyway, I don't remember. There's 7 types. You have to look at them. For some reason. You'll see what they are. Here. Again, let me do it again. Figs, dates, grapes, pomegranates, wheat, and barley, and Eretz Zavas Chudlav. What, I'm missing one. How can
olives? Olives?
Oh, olives. There you go. Olives. Very good. That's what it is. Olives. Okay. So the commandment is that the first of these fruits of these seven fruits, you have to bring it to the Holy Temple. So here we go. And then you have to say this whole big statement. V'hayaki tavo al-aretz, and it will be when you come to the land of Israel. Asher Hashem Elokecha natan lecha, God gave you as an inheritance of the Yerishta v'yeshavta bo, and you conquer it and you settle in it. And what does it say? V'yerishta, you conquer it and you settle in it. Well, if you remember when the Jews came into the land of Israel, so 7 years they fought to conquer the land of Israel. And then it took them another 7 years for all the tribes to actually settle in their lands. Magid, this tells you, one, that they had to bring these first fruits only when they conquered the land and they divided it up. V'lakachta, you should take mi kol pri ha'adama, for the first, all the fruits of the land of Israel, asher tavim yaretzecha, that you brought from your land, that God gave you, v'samta batena, and you have to put it in a basket. V'alachta el hamakom, you should go to the place that God chose. The shaken shamo sham, to make his name rest there. What is this place? Let's look and see. Rashi Mereshis, you have to take some of your first fruits and not all of your first fruits. What does it mean? If you have apples and pears and plums, you don't have to bring them from the first fruits. And kol haperos chayavim b'bikurim. Not all fruits are obligated in the first fruits. Ela shivat aminim bilvad. Only the 7 types. Like it says, Eretz, it says over here, Eretz. It says Artzecha, from your land, Eretz, and it has over here, Eretz. Eretz chita u'sa'ara u'te'ena v'rimon b'gefen Eretz zeis shemen u'davash. That's the pasuk in the Torah. Ma lahalan shiva taminim, all over there it says, Eretz, what is it? Chita u'sa'ara Gefen u'te'ena v'rimon, Eretz zeit shemen u'davash. That's the 7 types that we just talked about. Just like those types that the land of Israel is blessed by them, namely, like we said, wheat and barley and olives and grapes figs and dates and pomegranates. Also here, the 7 types of the land of Israel, only those you have to bring. Here it says, where do we see in the pasuk? What is the pasuk over there? It says, Eretz chita usara, teina urimon. Then in the end it says zait shemen udavash. What is this zait shemen? Zait, this is aguri. This is the olives that have oil inside of them. Shishamno agur b'tocham. This is, you don't have to bring olive oil, zait shemen. And dvash, it says in the pasuk, zait shemen udavash. This is the dvash, the liquid that comes out of dates. Sometimes dvash means dvash devorim. Sometimes it means anything that's sweet. This time it means dvash means dvash torim. Meireshis Adam Yored betoch sadeu. He goes, man should go into his field. For Atena abakura, and he sees the first fig. Korech ala gami, he ties around it like a ribbon. Omer, it says harizeh bikurim. This is the first fruits. So he takes his first fruits and he gives it to Hashem. And he puts it in a basket. So he has a basket and it's filled with these 7 different types, whatever he happens to be growing. If he grows all 7 types, then he has to bring the first fruits. Ubotel a coin, he comes to the coin that is in those days. And he says, Vigarati ayom, then makes what's called, what he announces on the Bikurim. Vigarati ayom l'Hashem Elokecha, I'm speaking now to God. Ki boti ala oretz, I have come to the land. Asher nishba Hashem lavotenu lotet lanu. I have come to the land that God has given us. I have come to the land. What do you mean he's come to the land? He came to the land 14 years earlier. 14 years earlier. But he's giving thanks. This is what's called vidui bikorim. He's giving thanks to God that he's in the land. He's not taking it for granted. So he says you have to come to the Kohen that is in those days. You have to come to the Kohen that is in those days. What does it mean those days? You can only go to the Kohen who is in your days, Kamoshu, as he is. You can't say, this is a Kohen. Previous generations, those were Kohens. No, you have to go to the Kohen that's there. And you should say, you have to say that I am not, what do you call it? An ingrate. I have gratitude. I have gratitude. What does it mean he's got gratitude? Of course he's in the land where God gave him. He's in the land. It's very easy, though, to be in the land. And he didn't just come there today. He didn't just get off the boat. Didn't get out of the desert. They got out of the desert 14 years earlier. But he's saying that I'm grateful for every moment that I'm in the land of Israel. Holy place. Enu kafoi tova. V'higarti ayom. I am saying today once a year. He doesn't come twice a year. Once a year they went up. We'll see when it is, when they went up. And the Kohen, yes, the Kohen takes this basket from his hands and he puts it in front of the altar of God. Says Rashi, the Kohen takes it and he lifts it up. Kohen meniach yado tachat yad habalim. You hold on to the basket. The Kohen puts his hands underneath your hands and he lifts it up. And then he says, V'anita v'amarta. And he answers. Rashi says it means that he raises his voice and says before God, Arami Oved Avi. And we quote this in the Haggadah of Pesach. and they're going to Pesach. Remember, there's a big explanation on each one of these sentences. Arami Aved Avi, an Aramite, that's Lavan. Oved Avi, he tried to destroy my father. Vayered Mitzrayma, he went to Egypt. The Yagar Sham bin Mesemaat, and he lived there, very few people. Ve'isham Lagoy Gadol Atzum V'rov, and he became a very great nation. How many people went down to Egypt? 70. When they left, how many people came out of Egypt? Came out of Egypt about 3 million, something like that, Jews. And they say that there was another 4 parts, 12 million that were left behind. Some say it even more. Some say that there were 50 times as many. Sometimes say that there were 500 times as many. In any case, what does it say? You take this basket of fruits, you go up to Jerusalem, and you say to the Kohen, Lashon Haramat Kol, you lift up your voice and you say, Arami Oved Avi, an Aramite tried to destroy my father. Who is this? We'll see. Oved with an aleph means to destroy. Mazkir Chassidic Makom. This mentions the kindness of God. Arami Oved Avi. There was an Aramite from Aram. It was Lavan Arami. Because she wanted to destroy and everything. When he ran after Yaakov, remember Yaakov left. He ran after him with all of his men. Bishvil shechashav lasot. Because what did he want to do? He didn't destroy. What does it say? An Aramite destroyed my father. He didn't destroy, he just wanted to. Yaakov wanted, Lavan wanted to destroy Yaakov. Right, Lavan was the father of Leah and Rachel, right? So he wanted to destroy Yaakov. Because Shavil Chashav, that he wanted to do it, Chashav La'amakom, so Hashem considers it as though he's done it. She'umat Olam, that the non-Jews, Ovdi Alilim, are idol worship, Choshev Lahem HaKadosh Baruch Hu Machshav L'maaseh. When the non-Jews want to destroy the Jews, their thought to do evil is considered by God to be a deed. And interestingly enough, with the Jews, it's not so. By a Jew makes up in his mind he's going to do all sorts of sins. He's got it all planned up. Until he actually does it, it's not considered as though he sinned. Vayered Mitzrayma, and then afterwards the Jews went down to Egypt. Od achirim bo'o aleim, and then afterwards there were others that came to destroy the Jews. Shachrezat Yarav Yaakov Mitzrayim. After that, Yaakov went down to Egypt with Mesema, very few, 70 people. Yaakov went down to Egypt with only 70 souls. Here we have, here he has the Ohr Chaim. Interestingly enough, in last week's Parsha Kitetze, it didn't have the Ohr Chaim. Rav Chaim ben Atar, and here it does. So we'll see, maybe we'll go to it next week. Tomorrow we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot to do in this week's Torah portion, because I want to go over at least some of the 98 curses that are in this week's Torah portion. Vayareu otanu hamitzrim veyanunu. And the Egyptians did bad to us and they tortured us. Vayidnu aleinu avodah kasha, and they put on us hard labor. Hard labor. Vanitzak el Hashem, and we cried out to God. Vayishma Hashem es kolenu, and God heard our voice. Vayar es anyenu v'slamolenu v'chlachatzenu, and He saw our poverty, our suffering, our hard work, and the difficulties that we were in. Vayotzienu Hashem Mitzrayim, God took us out of Egypt. Biyad chazaka v'zeruah natuya, ub'mor gadol, with a strong hand, an outstretched arm, and great awe, uba'oto tamosim, with all sorts of miracles and all sorts of signs. All of these sentences are in the Agada of Passover, and they really constitute the bulk of the the explaining them constitutes the bulk of the Agara of Passover. V'yavi'enu el hamakom hazeh, God has brought us to this place. V'yitein lanu et ha'eretz hazot, and God gave us this land, a land that is flowing milk and honey. El hamakom hazeh, what's the makom hazeh? Beit HaMikdash. So here we're talking about the Beit HaMikdash. At first, the Beit HaMikdash to Jerusalem, at first they would bring them wherever the temple was, wherever the tablets were. But eventually the idea was to bring it to Jerusalem. That's the place. That's the place where. So we see that the temple was hinted at 3,000, whatever, 300 years ago. More. Now, I have brought the first fruits of my land. You're saying this the whole thing. You have to bring your fruits and say this whole entire paragraph that God gave to me. And I'm putting it down in front of God. And I am bowing down in front of God, Elokecha, your God. Magid shenotlin achar anafa tekohen, va'ochase biyado kashu koreh, that he takes it back. After the Kohen lifts it up, the choser aminif, and he lifts it up again and he puts it down, right? And it was the Kohen puts his hand under your hand and lifts it up, puts it down, and then you do the same thing. Hanachta means you bring it down. V'samachta b'kol hatov, and I rejoice with all the good. Asher natan Hashem Elokecha, that God is giving us, ubeitecha. Atah v'alevi, you and the Levi and the Ger and the convert, Asher b'sharecha, this is the convert which is in your gates. Okay, what does it mean? Samachta b'kol hatov. Who's getting the benefit for these foods? Only the Kohen eats it. Mikan omru ein korim b'mikre b'korim elo b'zman simcha. You had your choice. You could go to the temple whenever you had these first fruits, but you're not eating it after all. So it has to be a time of happiness from when mi'atzeres ad hachag, from atzeres, from the holiday of Shavuot, which is 7 weeks after Passover, until the Chag. The Chag is Sukkot. That a person at that time, this is the harvest time. A person harvests all of his fruits and his wine and his oil. But from Sukkot and on, maybe he brings the first fruits, but he doesn't say this whole entire statement that we had. Maybe, but he doesn't say the statement. Atah Levi, you, Kohen, and the Levi also has to bring Bikurim. And im nitu b'toch hareim, if they planted in their cities. Remember, the Levites had 48 cities that were given to them. So if they decided to be farmers also, so they had to bring first fruits as well. And the ger aker b'shabecha, and also the ger who is in your midst, he brings, but he doesn't say, because he can't say avotenu. A ger, a convert, true, he's a Jew, just like Moshe Rabbeinu is a Jew, but still his parents were not Jews. So we can't say Asher Natan Lanu Avotenu. There. Where is Avotenu? 1 second. Asher Nishbata Avotenu, where it is. Here. Shenishba Lavotenu, to our forefathers to give to us. But a non-Jew, a convert, cannot say to our forefathers. V'samachti b'kol hatov asher natan lecha Hashem Elokecha v'beitecha atah b'halevi b'ger asher b'sharecha, and the ger also which is in your midst. So that is the commandment of bringing first fruits to the holy temple and making this statement to God of thanks that God has given us fruits, showing us that you have to be happy with everything you have. And of course, in the end, the first fruits of Hashem are the Jewish people. So we're saying that as when we are happy with Hashem, is happy is also Hashem with us. Hashem is happy with us. Okay, that's the first commandment of this week's Torah portion. Okay, now we're talking about bringing meiser, giving meiser, and when you eat meiser, meiser sheni, and we'll talk about this, meiser rishon, meiser sheni, and we'll talk about this, God willing, tomorrow. Now let's learn